What's up, y'all? Welcome to Tabletop Bros. Time for a little update on the Mausoleum. So in the first video, we built the actual Mausoleum centerpiece itself, and then we built the base for it to go on, and now I've worked on the second setup here, which is our riser. So the goal is to essentially have a 22 by 30 full-on Mausoleum table, and I want to have basically 3 or 4 different levels. So the initial level would just be ground level with minimal stuff on that level. And then the second level will be a step up that will encompass most of the board. The third level is right here. And then this is our fourth level with the actual Mausoleum on it. So just switching over here to our second camera angle, we can see basically that all I did was just built up a second level underneath it that's a little bit larger. So this is our initial piece that we built in the first video. And then this is our next add-on piece right here. So just kind of focusing in on this piece, we just did the exact same thing, just built up another level of that foam, went ahead and coated it in some cardboard. In this case, it's some of the box filler pieces from some of our Games Workshop sets. And then once we basically layered that up in foam cardboard on the top and bottom, I went ahead and attached a couple pieces together. And then we just did the same thing and started building up the actual sidewalk pieces, built the stone part that goes around the outside, and then just built up these little stairways leading up to it. And then we added in the 2 little buildings right here. And the goal with those is to essentially just add a little bit more to the Mausoleum, kind of fill it out a little more. And then there's going to be a bunch more buildings on the side, like I showed in that initial drawing. So in the meantime, the only reason I'm not attaching all these pieces together is, one, I want to keep it kind of modular for paint or potentially using in D&D games. But also I want to add in some lights. So these little buildings right here essentially have some cool little openings and everything, and then each one has a base. So I kind of cut up the bases a little bit and made them fit in here so they can be removable. But I want to basically open some of this up so that I can run an LED strip throughout the whole thing, and then I'll be able to plug it into the wall and essentially be able to change the colors, control it with a remote control and everything. So I've left it fairly modular for now, so I can essentially just remove the little buildings with their little base pieces and everything. I can drill out or cut out whatever bits I want from these. And then once I'm closer towards completion, once I have it set up how I want it, I can start permanently attaching whatever I decide in the meantime. But for now, it doesn't make a ton of difference whether or not those are mounted on there. So this is the actual basically foam piece we have here. So it was built from 2 of those pieces of foam, and then I just kind of connected them together. I layered up a couple pieces of paper, which in this case is the kind of cardboard inserts from Games Workshop boxes, and then just gluing those together and mounting them up made it pretty solid. And then I added in more of that kind of stone walkway that we've been building up, incorporated 2 sets of those stairs and everything, and now we've got what amounts to a pretty light piece here. And then I just went through and started filling this in with some of the Games Workshop texture paint that we used in the previous video. And I basically layered it in thick into the cracks. And then I just took an old rag and just put a little water on it and just kind of wiped some of that away. And that gives us this nice effect that kind of fills it in. And then eventually, once we do a primer on this, we'll be able to spray paint it. We won't have to worry about it melting the foam or anything like that. So the goal obviously is to just make sure there's no exposed foam along this project. So very happy with how it's coming out so far, and actually been making some progress on the next steps too. Again, this kind of fits in there pretty nicely. Almost clips into place, so we can just kind of stick these where they need to be, and they're not real fussy or anything. Specifically trying not to get any of the texture stuff under there so it doesn't interfere with how they sit. And then you guys saw obviously in the first video, we built the actual Mausoleum building itself, and then the base layer right here. And that is left modular too, so we can still remove the Mausoleum and everything like that. Fully incorporate the lights, so this is all basically hollowed out. So the lights will be able to go in here. And again, we'll be able to set all that up, run through the actual LED strip, and we won't have to worry about digging out too much of this or having to redo any of the hard work that we put in, because we can basically cut everything out from the bottom and not interfere with this. And you'll see also we had done the texture paste on most of this, but I went ahead and did the same thing on the actual building here, where I went through and filled that in and then just took an old rag and just kind of took some of it away. But this is essentially ready for paint right now. This, as far as I'm concerned, is completely done, this piece here. And then obviously it still fits in nicely and everything. Again, made sure not to get that texture paste where this is going to sit on here. But now I could essentially mount this if I had like the lights in place and everything like that without having to worry about like too much trouble or anything, or having to like redo too much work. So again, really happy with how this is coming out now. We're getting quite a bit of elevation on it. And then realistically, like the next level is going to take up the majority of this 22 by 30 board. So this like flat structure essentially that I have right here, this little area for the video, is the size of like a Kill Team or Warcry board. So once it's all said and done, this whole thing will like take up the entire board. So that should be pretty awesome. The next piece I have like planned out is going to essentially just rise this up one more time, another level of foam, but all of this lifted up. And then that should take up almost all of the space, with the exception of like a couple little pieces on the sides. And then the final level will be like flat on the ground, like at this level. So I think when it's all said and done, it'll basically be like sitting this much higher, like up off the ground. We'll have like a ton of elevation, and it'll kind of have like a little bit of like a pyramid feel to it, which is like what I'm really going for. So super excited how everything is coming out so far, and super excited for what is to come. So I'm not going to bust it out yet in this video, but this is essentially like the LED setup that I picked up. I got this like LED strip off of Amazon, and it was like less than 20 bucks. It's something like 100 feet long, but it's actually like two 50-foot strips that like plug in separately. So I'm probably just going to be running like 50 feet of it, just kind of like swerve through this whole thing, which should be pretty cool. So definitely excited for it. It has a remote and everything. It has a plug that you like put in, so you don't have to worry about like battery operated. It has like built-in dimmers. It has all different patterns, everything from like changing the color of the lights to like music activated. So very, very cool. And 20 bucks for this, pretty much can't beat adding lights to your setup for less than 20 bucks. So really excited for this project, really excited for where the actual like build is going, and definitely looking forward to adding on to it. The detail and everything so far is pretty amazing. Really, really happy with how this is coming out, and essentially just building this all off of what amounts to like a bunch of like leftover like stairs from like making bases. And then like what amounts to the Mausoleum kit itself that I busted out in the first video, and then just a bunch of cardboard and foam. So yeah, just wanted to show off the progress with this, kind of talk about it a little bit. Let me know what you think down in the comments. If you enjoyed the build so far, you want to keep up on it, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, as we will be doing regular updates on this. I'll have the details for the LEDs in the description down below if you want to check those out. I can even put in a link to Amazon if you want to pick some up for yourself. But yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up there with the Mausoleum table build. So we have the first level done with the actual Mausoleum itself and its base. We have the second level like risers done as well, with the two smaller little buildings on here. And then the next update should be the third setup, which should really take this thing up another notch to the next level. And at that point in time, it's really going to be taking shape. So yeah, we'll go ahead and wrap it up there. That's it from the tabletop, bros. Later.